Tell us
till
about your
Tuesday.
journey. Tell us about your journey. I mean, what have you learned? What have you seen? What's sticking out?
It's been, so I've been in DC this week. I've talked. We did a lot of talked to some senators, talked to Van Hollen a little bit, and then uh, I talked with Rose's team today. I met with Katie today for a while. Uh, so hopefully going to go out and do some stuff with him during the his little rural tour that he's going to do uh, in the next couple of months. So that should be good. Go out on the road, get some access, get to write. They're going to do some time in Minnesota also. So um, kind of get to tag that in with some other stuff. I hope I've got some meetings with Tina Smith and Amy Klobuchar uh, in the next couple of days. Had to reschedule some things, but for the most part, it's been pretty good.
How are the senators feeling? How's the Senate feeling?
Well,
Or we can skip over that if you'd rather.
no, it's not too bad. It's I like Van Hollen. I think he's one of the few people that I think really kind of gets it and understands where we need to go. It's not the Senate is so different from the House, and you know this. It's the Congress people will kind of they'll split from leadership, and there's so many of them that they can kind of do their own thing. When you get to the Senate, everything is so quiet, and they thrive so much on decorum, and everything's got to feel like it's unified and stuff that you don't have a lot of breaks with leadership. It doesn't feel like, at least not when it comes to policy and being on the floor. They'll say stuff outside of that, but when you're on, like when they're in session, like you don't get a lot. They keep it pretty tight. So I don't know. Uh, like everybody, I have my issues with the ones that are. It's a boys' club. You know how it is. You've been here.
Yeah.
It's frustrating at times when you want to see stuff done and you try to remind yourself that things are supposed to turn slowly, but you hope that they'll start at least having something to do. Um, and I've talked at length about the idea that we're gonna have this policy vacuum at the end of, with the midterms. And, as you said, the scarier thing is that we do take the Senate too, and then don't do anything with it, and then that pendulum swings right back to where it was before. So
I think that's a big opportunity for you though, because you've been thinking about these solutions. You've been thinking about these constituencies, and I don't want to take it from other folks in the Democratic Party that are, but I don't think as many people are thinking about it the way that you are. So in many ways, if the Democrats pick up the House and the Senate, certainly I think the House is there. I mean, high probability. I think there's a better probability than most people think right now in the Senate. I think you're positioned to be one of those people to start filling that vacuum pretty quickly, Robert.
well, Mike, I hope so.
I do too. I do
I
too.
well, I say I hope so. I hope, if anything, I don't care if it's me. I hope that somebody is listened to, and that there is some amount of pragmatism versus, you know, it, I think sometimes we mistake pragmatism for lack of moral grounding, but there, I hope that we utilize our pragmatic skills to get some things done and to put the right policies in place and to kind of push, as opposed to just being the group that is going to keep pushing purity politics and these culture. And I don't want to say culture is important, but we can't legislate it the way that.
I lost your sound. You still there? There you are.
There you are. You got me now?
I do.
I do. Okay, perfect.
I think I might be echoing.
It'd be better now.
I hear you now.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. On the road, man.
I can't hear you now.
You can't hear me? What do I need to do? Can everybody else hear me? Give me some hearts if you can hear me. Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna see if it sounds like it looks like it's
I
Robert's.
gotcha.
There you are. There's his internet. He's right back.
I
Look at him.
gotcha. Sorry about that.
Can't keep Robert down.
Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Look, if you can guarantee anything, it is taxes, and then I will have some sort of technical issue on a live with Mike Madrid.
It's got to be me at some point. It's probably what the
um,
technical difficulty is.
no, it said I got a phone call during this, and it
Oh,
goes through my
yeah.
headset, and it cut it off, and so I have to. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get around that.
I don't
If
know.
I turn on airplane mode, I won't. Can't do any of this.
Just
There
don't be
needs to
so
be a
popular.
system, Mike.
Don't be so popular. That's what it is. Just don't
Don't
have
worry.
more calls.
It was a spam call, Mike. It was.
Well, my
So-
unsolicited advice is think about what the playing field looks like on the Senate side now and who those 3 senators are that have the acumen and the political positioning to help you move that agenda forward and start building that relationship now. So that when there is a 15-member Democratic House majority and there's a 1 or 2 vote Democratic majority, and they wake up and they're like, okay, now what do we do?
Mhm.
You've already got a 8-month runway with these people that are like, oh, I know who can do it. I've been talking about somebody. They've got an agenda for heading into the presidential campaign the way we ought to be positioning.
I'm going to start that now.
Yeah.
I'm going to start making some phone calls tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think there's people that want to make a change. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to come from leadership or not. That'll be seen. But I think that there is enough interest in doing something differently that I think we can really move the needle. And I guess that's the whole goal here. I think the House will be fine if there's a plan, and that'll be DNC moves and whatever. And I don't know. My fear is always going to be the same, that we get control and we just keep doing the same things, and that we look at an electoral win as the as the approval of the status quo, saying, well, we like what you're doing, so just keep doing that, versus being elected to actually make a change and mandate some sort of policy push. So I don't know, Mike. We're getting there.
You are getting there. And I hope you look back sometimes and realize how far you've come in this whole process in just a quick year's time. You're already meeting with senators and they want your brain on this stuff and they want to know what you're having to say. I don't think this is going to come to leadership. This won't come from leadership. Leadership's going to reflect the desire of their caucus. That's why I look for a couple of people who are very outspoken and strident, and the political calculus may be a little bit different from them. Especially those that are going to have a little bit of ambition to start driving a national agenda that is parallel with what you think the policy positions need to be. Those are the folks. Don't go to leadership. Go to the folks that are going to drive the national narrative. Sometimes it's leadership, but not with what we're seeing right now. I don't believe. And again, this is totally unsolicited, so take it for what
Listen,
it's worth.
Any advice you're willing to give, I'm willing to listen to. I assure you.
Appreciate that.
I will tell you, I'm never. I'm always surprised. I shouldn't say I'm never. I'm always surprised at how much is done by young people
Mhm.
on the Hill, and I mean staffers, and if anybody thinks that talking to a senator is a big deal, it is not. It is it is those two or three people that are close to him that you can actually spend 30 or 45 minutes with, and they're the ones taking notes and asking real questions. Those are the people you want to talk to. It is rarely, if ever, the actual senator. And the part of me appreciates that and thinks that these are the people that are really moving those are the ones that are really going to move the ball. But it is some of these young people are so brilliant, and you know that when they get done, it's like, well, you're not going to run for office. Like, there's no way you're going to run for office. You're going to go do something else. But at least we have you right now. Um,
That's
it's
absolutely true. And it's
it's
been that way
it's
since I
incredible.
was a kid. Since I was a kid on the Hill, you realize who's moving so much of the capital, and there are just some really talented people from a younger generation that just is committed to this stuff, and it is fulfilling to see. And yes, unfortunately, not a whole lot of them stick around.
Yeah, you and you can tell. I mean, all of them. They went to Georgetown and have um, a policy degree, a public service degree or something from Georgetown, or they taking a year off to work for, and I met. So funny enough, I met Jake Johnson, who's running for Congress out of Rochester, Minnesota, and I think Jake will win. But I will also tell you this: his staff, um, Eleanor and Nick, are two of the most promising young people
Mm.
I have ever met. From Eleanor took a year off from school just to work on this campaign, and Nick was he was he's worked on several campaigns, but Jake was his math teacher in high school, and he was like, "I'm going to come work for your campaign. I believe in you that much." And this guy came from Washington to come over here and be his campaign manager, and Eleanor's his deputy campaign manager. I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell it. Anyway, whatever. But these people, uh, you hope that someone like that wins because the staff that he has underneath him
Certainly.
understands what's going on. And it's like Jake's good, his staff is great, and not saying anything away from Jake, he's wonderful and he knows what he wants to do. But to have a staff that'll support that and get the work done is an impressive thing to see. Um,
It
uh,
it does it does make you hopeful for the country when you meet young people that committed, that are dedicating their lives to this stuff.
I also know that neither one of them are going to run for office, which is also a little disheartening. But it's hard to. I'll never run for office, and people ask me to do it all the time, and so I get it. Like it's there are people suited for it, and the ones that find that like they can affect policy or change in different ways typically do that. But it is it is it is a breath of fresh air sometimes when you see that there are those that are committed to it, and that there is going to be another generation of lawmakers coming up, and that we do just have a very difficult time right now and over the next few years, but that there probably is some change on the horizon.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's good. I don't want to be overly optimistic ever, but I don't want to ever be too cynical.
That's
I
right.
find myself being cynical a lot, but I do think that there's some positives. And so when you ask me, what have I seen lately in the midst of all of this with the things happening in Minnesota, and there is this idea that ICE is kind of backing off. It's not really the case. They're just diluting their teams and kind of spreading out to you know further into more rural areas and suburban uh, areas where they're having a little less pushback and smaller teams. So the presence is still there. They've kind of stepped away from Whipple. Whipple's kind of being policed by actual MPD and some National Guard people. So it looks calmer, but it is still the same problems they're having. They have moved to dropping off people in isolated areas without proper clothing and stuff. And I think that's going to be the next bigger issue. So they have people that are doing a lot of groundwork to make sure that they know where people are being dropped off and make sure they can get to them as quickly as possible. Because in some of these temperatures, 10 minutes of exposed skin, they start having frostbite issues and things like
Mm.
that. So, uh, there will be some issues with some of that, but people are working hard to make sure that those things are handled. Um, and clothing drives and stuff are very important. Um, I met a lady who's running an organization called More Communities, and it's a bunch of teachers that teach English classes for immigrant communities. And there's like 17 different ethnicities that come through there. They teach 4 to 6 English classes a day. They serve 200 plus families a day. They package food, and they have 20 to 70 volunteers that come through every day and pack these bags. And deliver them, and they collect clothing and toys and things for um, these families. The families can come in and shop. They don't have to, and make sure that they have all the things that they need. It's an incredible thing that these people do. Um, and they just keep doing it, Mike. Like they're not, they are more concerned with rebuilding their community and making sure that all these people have the things they need than they are about really much. The other stuff is important, but they know that there are people handling it, and there are soup kitchens running and underground food pantries, and it's incredible. Uh, uh, so I don't know. If anything, I've come away a little more hopeful, I think, than probably most that are just watching the news. If you're getting that unfiltered sort of everything's on fire all the time, and it is. But there is underneath that this layer of good that is trying to build itself back up. So I think there's a lot of good coming.
I think it's kind of
And Trump's numbers are in the toilet.
Yeah, let's get to that in just a second. But I do want to say, listening to you reminds me of Salinger, when Salinger took that van trip around America and just was writing on what was really happening, and you're witnessing the emergence of a new America with real people with these faces, like you're saying. They're worried about feeding hungry people. They see the bigger problem out there. They're keenly aware of it, but they're doing what they can do today to make a difference. And that's how a nation is built. That's how a new nation emerges. And that's so hopeful at this time, Robert. And I love what you're doing and love that you're on the road. I know it's hard, but I love that you're kind of writing from there. And I love your dive bar story. There's just a lot of I like what you're reflecting on, because it's an American moment that you're capturing, and I know that you appreciate it, but the fact that you can talk to people in soup kitchens on one day and U.S. senators the next, the heads of nonprofit after that, and activists, like, to you, that's a Thursday. And, it's important that you're conveying all that to people, because it gives all of us hope. It gives us all a big lens as to what's really happening in the country right now.
Well, I appreciate that. It's interesting. I've been writing for a long time, and so today I realized that 7 days, February 21st is when I posted my first thing on TikTok. That's the first essay that I read into camera and posted. That's kind of where this started from.
What day,
That'll
Robert?
be a year ago next week.
A year ago,
February
next week.
21st.
Not even a full
A year,
year.
yeah.
And did that take off?
So it's been an incredible, not really, like 30,000 views or something. I mean, 30 or 40,000 views, but it it allowed kind of the next one, and people wanted to hear the next thing, and so it gave me a little bit of, oh well, it gave me a platform. I don't want to say a platform.
Yeah.
A medium, those things all people want to hear, and so it's kind of where it went. It is what I think it was trying at the time, and if you were going back a year ago that I would be doing this today, I wouldn't. That'd be crazy. But uh, things something don't bring you back and think, wow, this has been, you was
I think you're real broke.
I
You're
didn't
real
do
broke.
anything, yeah. And then
Robert, you're real broken up. You're real broken up, I think, or unless it's just me. You guys able to hear him? Yeah, I think. Can you hear me? Now you're frozen. Or he's off. We'll see. He'll come right back. He'll come back up. Isn't it extraordinary, guys, that he's only been doing this not even a year? He's just not picking up. You there?
should be better now. Is that better now?
That's better now. Look at you. Can't keep him down.
Okay. All right. There it is. Sorry, I'm in an Airbnb, so I had to reconnect to the Wi-Fi. I don't know. It just gets off sometimes. It's very strange that a year ago I was not doing anything with this, and then Today I was meeting with Rose's team about going on the road and doing, uh, uh, with access to how he's going to run that, China committee, or how they're going to go through rural America and try to craft policy and stuff off of that. And I'm going to get to spend some time with him, possibly doing that, and a few other people in that group. And that's just an incredible change in 12 months time. So it's been something, I tell you.
What were you doing before this?
I did market forecasting and commodities projections for food service contracts. So I would um, essentially just write the reports for companies that were doing like what I thought how they need to redevelop menus and things like that for and then changes I thought were coming in the market with beef prices and chicken prices and stuff like that we're going to do, and where they needed to book and change, and uh, how droughts in Mexico affect avocado pricing and things like that. It's all stuff that matters in how we price out things and where the margins and stuff need to move and how we're going to compress those margins or not compress them or whatever. So those kinds of things, you run them quarterly, and you just
It was technical though, right? Technical writing.
oh yeah, very. I mean, I still wrote journals and essays and things like that. I've always written and done poetry when I thought it was something that spoke to me. But I used to post on this Medium. Have you ever done? Do you
Yeah.
remember Medium?
Yeah.
So I used to post on there, and then I had like live journals and things like that. I can't remember how to log into my old live blog on my blog. I tried to look it up the other day. Somebody asked me about it. I thought, I bet I could get into it. I can't find it.
It doesn't surprise me one bit, brother.
So, and then most of it is just legal pads. I mean, legal pads at my house just full of old stuff. And occasionally I revisit it. It's interesting. I've been afforded the opportunity to write so much lately that, I mean, it's like any other muscle. You get better at it the more you do it. And so now that I get to write every day or get to spend time writing every day, I look back at some stuff I was writing a couple, 3 years ago, and it's not what I want it to be. And so, I'll rework some things, or I'll take an idea of something and kind of redo it. So I will have people sometimes like, "Hey, can you post some of that old stuff?" And I say, "No, absolutely."
Maybe I can, but I will not. No, I won't.
Yeah. I could absolutely do that. I might. Let me run through it real quick, and we'll see how it is. But I love it. I think I am in a. If nothing else, I get to do something that I enjoy doing, and I get to do it every day. And I hate the circumstances around it, but Americans are resilient. I think that's kind of where we end up with a lot of this, is that we are born from this, and so this is what we do well. Is a little bit of flying in the face of authority, or we're supposed to anyway. So I think I hate to say that it's sometimes you have to remind yourself what it means. I'm working on some stuff about how we're supposed to treat freedom and the idea of liberty, and how messy it is going to be forever. I mean, that's just the nature of it. And so I think I'm gonna work on some longer pieces on that, and maybe to YouTube or something, or Substack, that be a little more back to the roots of doing some early American history and philosophy of governance kind of things, which is what I really like to do uh, the rest of the time. But right now we're in the Epstein throes and all the other stuff, whatever happened in El Paso the other day, which is very strange.
There's a lot of strange things happening. It does feel like things, and again, I know we talked about this, I think last week or the week prior, where it does feel like things have shifted. It's great to hear you talking about sort of resiliency and what is being born, because look, the toughest times are still ahead of us. I think this is going to be a very difficult year for the country. I do believe that. But I am seeing signs. I was talking with somebody yesterday. I don't remember in which manner or way, but somebody was talking about like post MAGA fashion sense or post MAGA culture. And you realize that just hearing that, like this post Trump era, it's already seeping into the zeitgeist or the mentality rather of the thinking process of a lot of Americans that are realizing this is going to pass. Like not that Trumpism goes away, but that Trump goes away. And
Yeah.
just having that seed, I think, is really important because it's the seed of hope. It's the seed of realization that this dark time will end, and thinking beyond it, even if it's just kind of in the imagination, is so healthy for our mental health, but also that emergence, that resilience to continue and to envision what tomorrow is going to look like and what it's going to be, and to begin to start those assessments. It's really healthy to start kind of mentally turning the corner. And I think a lot of that combined with how bad the president's approval numbers are, and they are really, really bad, broadly, deeply, and the likelihood that it's gonna get worse before it gets better because the public, I think, has really had it with him, and I know I've said that before, but this is, I think, foundationally different, and and then I'll shut up after this because I want your thoughts on it, but when you see stories coming out like the Kristi Noem and Lewandowski, and then you see the stories like Rick Grinnell coming out a year into the administration is usually when you see the first wave of the people that were there from the campaign start to wash out. The president tires of them. The breaks starts to happen. The sour mood of the electorate is not going to help that environment. You're seeing these Republicans on the Senate side that don't want to that are openly defying the president. Massey, again going after some of the real Trump sycophants. Pam Bondi's debacle, and being castigated by Republicans. Then it's been happening since the fall. The turning on him, the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff, the Epstein files vote in the House where there was a Republican mutiny. Like if you in isolation, they seem very and they have been all too rare in this American chapter, but they're happening with regular frequency now. It's happening with regularity. And sometimes I'll shoot you a note like on the retirements because I know you watched that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And we had one leaving, right? So now the majority is down to like it's right there. It's at one, right? So Johnson's essentially done. I mean, he's essentially done. I don't know what else they're going to accomplish between now and November. I mean, there's gonna an outright revolt is breaking out on the tariffs. That doesn't mean that Trump is going to get more rational. He's going to get more irrational. He's going to get more desperate. But even Republicans are thinking about the post-Trump era, and that after the midterms, and there will be some ugliness related to the midterms. Not just the high turnout that I think we're going to see, but the very historic anti-Republican break will go a long way to limiting the J6 style bullshit that he's going to pull.
yeah.
And Republicans will be incentivized to move against him. So sorry about the long
No,
tirade.
I,
What
I
do you?
don't, I don't think you can. I don't think he has the support to pull off the J6 thing again. Um, his support was so much higher in 2020 when that is or 2021 when that's happening. I mean, it's a completely different electorate. It's a completely different mindset. You're talking about people that were COVID concerned and also, uh, they felt justified with him being, supportive. I don't think anybody cares. I don't think he has that sort of support. So I think another situation like that would And I'm not saying they won't do it, but I don't think it has the legs that the January 6th situation did. So I don't think it'll garner the support. I think that there is fatigue amongst that base that they are not willing to admit. It's, and I say that from they keep trying to do these counter protests in Minnesota, and there's no turnout for it. Like there is no 5 to 7 people, um, and there's one guy kicking over ice sculpture. I mean, there's 5 or 6 of those guys that are doing that. I mean, there's no there's no appetite for it, and so I think that fatigue is real amongst his base. Now, I think the rest of I think all of his ardent supporters are wearing face masks and running around as ice agents. If I'm being honest, I mean the real militant ones have jobs in the government, and so I j- I just don't see the. I mean, I drive through town in my hometown now, and you don't see the flags and the signs and the stickers are all old now. They're not. They may not have taken them off the car, but they didn't put a new one on. Like I think that fatigue is real. Um,
I wrote a piece last week called the Trump fatigue syndrome. It,
Okay.
it's absolutely real. It's absolutely real, and you can see it visually the way you're talking about, or don't see it. Turnout in these special elections, you're seeing depressed Republican turnout. At the same time, you're seeing enthusiasm or anger or rage or passion on the behalf of Democrats through the roof. And that gap is everything in a campaign, everything, because I don't know how they're going to rally Republicans. What are you going to have? It reminds me of the last years of George W. Bush, where it's just like everything was going wrong. Like the weather, you were like, is this the Bush administration screwing this up too? Like it's like it's that fatigue, and that's fatigue. That's the right word, and that's what is setting in. Is his own base is tired of the circus show. It's not edgy and funny and trolling and owning the libs anymore. It's just played out. And that's why he's got to try to do stuff like go more racist than he ever has before.
yeah.
And that's not working. It's boomeranging. And you get the Republicans standing up going, dude, stop it.
Well, I said about 6 months ago, I was talking to someone, and I said eventually the anti-establishment, whatever is counterculture um, about the MAGA thing, where it's like, oh, we're going to stick it to the man. We're anti-establishment. Yeah, well, now you're the establishment, and so everything that goes wrong from here on out is you, and you don't have a rallying cry anymore. And once that set in, and once that realization comes home, it's not fun. It's not cool. It's not once young people start to realize, like all the red pilled young people start to realize that they are represented by a bunch of actors with bad intentions and no concern for anything, and just look at them. I mean, that's not who you want. And I'm not saying any politicians are the kind of cool guys that anybody looks up to, or but when that's your brand and those are the guys that you're having to look to be role models or whatever the hell it is, that starts to lose ground pretty quickly. Kid Rock is your number one guy. That sucks. And that sucks a lot, especially when the other is, you know, just to counter that, be like Zach De La Roca. So, but which one do you want there?
Yeah, and when you're in charge of the Epstein files and you're not releasing them.
No, and you're doing everything you can to keep it. So it's the you can't if you're a normal human being that just voted for Trump culture stuff, whatever it is, to have to continue to defend and support this stuff is just, um, Forbes released a report on grocery pricing for the first year, uh, 365 days. Eggs are down 30%. Everything else is up, and it's up a lot. And yeah, eggs came down because they were so inflated because of the bird flu problem and, lack of supply. Yeah, but it was going to come down anyway. So eggs are down 30%. The other 9 to 12 categories are all up double digits. And you can't argue with that. This is Forbes. This is not me and you talking about it and speculating on what it looks like in our area. It's reality. Um, so it's just, there is a fatigue, and I hope that, well, it's not even hope. We talked to people that are doing these. They're doing these carpools to get kids in Minnesota to and from school, because their parents are afraid to leave the house, and school's back in session, so they're trying to get kids to school. And you have Republicans that are helping out because they, you know, it's one thing to talk about immigration in abstract. It's another thing whenever it's your
Oh,
child's friend
yeah.
that can't go to school. Now it's different. And I listened to a gentleman speak yesterday, and that he said it's so easy whenever they say, he said that he was talking to his neighbor, and she said, I, it's not what I voted for. And he said, man, all I wanted to say is it's exactly what you voted for. He said, but I knew that wasn't going to get me anywhere. So I just said, I know it's not what you voted for. I know that you did not vote for your son's friend to be taken, or to have to not be able to go to school out of fear and stuff. That's not what you voted for, um, specifically. So what are we going to do about it next time? You know, and he said he gave us a chance to have a conversation. And so I think that's where we're at. Like, there's going to be a lot of people that are looking for that off ramp. And yes, some of it is going to be filled with condescending liberals all along the way. But I think at some point you also have to say, okay, now let's get it fixed. And, if our real goal is bringing people into the club or the fold, or, vote for a Democrat one time and let's see if we can get some of this turned around. And then you can go back to voting for conservatives or whatever. I think that's an important distinction to make. So that's my 2 cents on it.
No, that's huge. But you are seeing people on the ground, Republicans helping out, saying, "I voted for Trump, but this is different. This is my community. This is." I mean, that's huge. That's a big
Yeah,
thing. Even people acknowledging that they voted for it, or I didn't vote for this, but I voted for him.
right. Um, and I do think that if Democrats would put some policy behind their candidates coming up that made sense and that was adult, grown up stuff, that we could say this is what we're gonna accomplish, this is what we're gonna do. Here's the groundwork. Here's the playbook. Um, I think you could get people on board with a real sense of how we move forward. And it can't be, the short phrases, and everyone wants to have a slogan and a catchphrase or whatever. I think it works great for protests. I wrote that thing and I posted it, and I had a lot of people comment that I don't understand what it, why those chants exist. I do. The whole purpose is to say that you can't turn a chant into policy. You have to have both. Um, and so I think we have to have both. We have to, if we're going to say the thing, which is abolish ICE or whatever it is, you have to have policy to back it up. And I think that's where we miss so often is
That
that,
and that, yeah. And I think that's the fear that you have for after the midterms, right? And it's the fear I have too, which is
yeah,
if you win, it's like the candidate, the famous line at the end of the movie. What's next? Like if you win because they're so bad, you've been given this second chance, which doesn't happen a lot in politics. And if you fumble it as bad as the Republicans do, then that's shame on you, especially with the history of 2018. And the irony is, the moment with all this fatigue that's going on, show people, because the Republicans have gone so far over the edge that the parameters of reasonable policy are quite large. Like just reasonable. It doesn't have to be like nailed. It just has to be like reasonable. I was on MSNBC a couple of days ago talking about immigration reform. And they're like, can this possibly get done? And I'm like, yes, the policy solution to immigration reform has not changed in 40 years. It can absolutely get done. And as long as the Democrats put a plan on the table, they're going to be taken seriously, because what's the alternative? The alternative is what we've been watching for the past year. And the American people have no appetite for that. But you've got to put it on paper. You've got to have a 10-point plan, a 3-point plan, a 5-point plan, whatever it is. You can't just punt the ball like they have on immigration, because the Republicans are going to attack you for being open borders. And without a plan, you know what? You basically are open borders. Because you've got nothing to, it's kind of like the defund the police. And it's also why I don't mean to take the conversation in a different direction, but I don't like the abolish ICE message. Because what are you going to do? People don't want to know what you want to get rid of. They want to know what you want to do to fix the problem. So give them that. Give the voter credit. Give them a little bit of credit in the fact that they want to vote for something, and it doesn't have to be 100% right. It just has to be somebody saying, I've got a vision to fix this stuff in a reasonable way that isn't getting us into the place where we're shooting U.S. citizens in the face as we're hunting down, brown people. Like, it's got to stop.
All MAGA did in 24 was say that the last 4 years have been terrible. Here's how we're going to make it better. And they said they were going to lower prices. They were going to do all these things. They did all the things to tell people they were going to fix stuff. And then when they won, they didn't have any plan to fix it. And so it was just, that's why we're here now. That's why there's an opportunity. And if you do the exact same thing in 2028, you will be right back where you are right now. And that's the fear of all of this is, how do we, again, to your point, reasonable governance? Just people want some sort of responsibility back in this. They don't want roughshod, just reckless, irresponsible, can't answer a question in a committee meeting. People don't want that. I don't care who you are. Nobody wants that. Because it's not representative of anybody. Pam Bondi's hearing the other day was not representative of any American that exists. As a regular citizen, it may be representative of the entire administration, but certainly not representative of any American citizen that I know or have ever met. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants a burn book where you're just have something to say about every senator that asked you a question without actually answering a question. People that don't have anything to hide don't behave that way. And I'll say terrible things about Democrats too. It's the latest thing I've heard, and somebody pointed to me the other day that Bill Clinton was like, one of the definition for the word is, that's bad. That's really bad. It's poor form, and it's not how we should. It shouldn't be the expectation for Americans to not be able to get answers out of the people that are to not be able to get answers out of the people that are supposed to be in leadership positions. And so we just can't do that. Moving forward, we can't do it.
Are you going to be back on the road after you take a few days rest?
I'm back to Minnesota for a few days, for about a week or a little over a week. And then I'm back in DC for the State of the Union. I am doing a rebuttal for Defiance.org, Miles Taylor's Defiance.org.
Nice.
They're doing a State of the Swamp thing. And so our little media group, our media team, some friends of mine that are also in this space are going to come in and start working on a rebuttal. So as soon as that it's going to be an interesting thing. It's not anything I've ever done before. So I'm going to frame something out, kind of what I know he's going to talk about. And then in real time, we're going to fact check and try to get something punched out.
What do you think the State of the Union is going to look like this year? There's nothing going right, and that's not going to stop him. But does he like
It
what
will
is, what
be,
what does he do, and what are the Democrats? How do the Democrats respond?
I think the official rebuttal will, I mean, it's easy. I think if you're the Democrats writing whatever the official rebuttal is going to be, needs to be very pointed to not just taking his speech apart piece by piece, because that's going to be easy. That's the low hanging fruit. Do that quickly and then move into a message of hope and how we get to the next phase and what the next steps are and what this policy is going to look like that are going to be the things that carry us through 26 and to 27 and help us build the bridge for 28, to put responsibility back in the White House. I mean, if the message from the Democrats post State of the Union is not about responsibility and non-reckless governance, then they've missed the plot.
Agreed. Agreed. I was hoping you would say that, especially that last part. My hope, Robert, is whoever was advising them to hold up paddles and to do stuff on the floor and act like him is either fired or removed or silenced for this drill. They need to be statesmen and stateswomen like and be respectful and show the contrast by not now going into where he's going. He's going to try to bait him. He's going to attack him. He's going to use the platform to try to humiliate him and get a rise out of them. The one of the great things about the Super Bowl halftime show was he didn't have to, Bad Bunny didn't have to say anything about ICE. He didn't have to say anything about the racist comments coming from the White House. Just do your thing and show a hopeful, uniting, loving message and let the contrast speak for itself. Be the grown-ups. Don't stand up and walk out. Have dignity for the institution at a time when he's desecrating it, and just be as stoic as you possibly can. Golf clap where appropriate. Ignore it where it is also appropriate. But don't desecrate the institution anymore. Let him do it himself while everybody's had it with this fool.
I think there was this, when Pelosi ripped up the speech, I think that was the beginning of this idea of fighting this cartoonish behavior with cartoonish behavior. And it was accepted and everybody thought it was funny and oh, what a great thing that she did. And okay at the time. But I think it's gotten out of hand. And so much to your point, if Booker's thinking about boycotting the State of the Union, that's the wrong move. It's the wrong move. Go be an adult. It's your job. Go to the State of the Union. Sit there in silence if you want to, but don't boo and don't be a jackass about it.
Agreed.
Do the things that we expect out of the other side. Go back to being the adults in the room. Let them look like children. Let them look like pompous asses. And let that be their brand. Don't make it our brand, or the Democrats' brand or whatever. Like if the options are their side or the other side, and we are on that other side of it, now you represent more than just card-carrying Democrats. You represent every American that doesn't want any part of that. So go represent those people and represent them well and with amount of dignity and integrity that we expect from lawmakers in the United States. We're bigger than that. We're better than that. We always should have been. Now we've gotten out of control the last 8 years, 10 years, whatever. But I think that that's the win. That is the way you do it. The same way you would tell a football player in high school to, don't stoop to the level of the teams that are acting poorly or being unsportsmanlike. You go out there and you play your game, you do your thing, you keep your head up. your eyes forward and you act like an adult. And I think that's the win.
I
Um,
think I think it's coming full circle just to maybe characterize how much things have changed and that Trump fatigue syndrome setting in. I think Michelle Obama's advice is right now, which is when they go low, go high.
mhm.
Just people are tired of it. The swamp fever is breaking. They're done with it and starts to now present as the responsible stewards of this government, of this country, of this institution. And I'm not look, I was a Lincoln Project guy. I mean, we were in the gutter. Like I'm not, I'm not going to suggest that there isn't a time and a place for that. I just don't think that. I think people have had it. I think like the fool, the town fool has been exposed. It's not funny anymore.
Right.
It's now it's destructive. Even the haters are turning on him. It's like whatever we were doing as a country, I think we're starting to look back and kind of be a little bit embarrassed and humiliated by it. And I'm absolutely convinced he's gonna make a fool out of himself. I'm convinced out of it. He's kind of like these posts, these racist posts. He's not gonna be statesmanlike. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. I do think, though, that he's going to try to bait to the best that he can or say something completely inappropriate simply to have the narrative of whatever, a racist comment, some sort of a slur, some sort of innuendo that will keep people focused on defending him with his base or not. He can't go in there and say the State of the Union. I'm sorry. He will go in there and say the State of the Union has never been better,
Mhm.
right?
Of course you will. Yeah.
And just let the American people hear that. Don't laugh and joke and throw paper airplanes at him. Like just let him be the damn fool.
I think that 100%. I think that if when he comes in and he makes that statement, which he will make in summer, it won't be that eloquent, Mike. It'll be
Yeah.
but it when he makes it, just remain silent and seated, and it's let that speak for itself.
Let him speak for
And
itself.
let the Republicans or the MAGA supporters and the loyalists make fools of themselves, and just go go to work. Treat it like any other meeting that anybody else has to go to, where you're just going to sit there quietly and deal with the thing. Um, Let him ramble. Let him do the thing that he does and dig himself a hole where he sounds like a fool, and just give him all the space he wants to do that. He'll make a mess of it. And then when it's over, have a message about responsible governance and a, 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 a separation of the recklessness that we have seen for the last year. And hey, these are the policies that should be in place. This is what we're working toward. These are the coalitions we're trying to build. And move forward. Use it as your opportunity to separate yourself from the bullshit that we dealt with the last year, and as a way to say this party is moving forward to 2026 and beyond. And and that's the direction I would take it. And if they're smart, that's the direction they'll take it. To be perfectly honest,
Yeah,
now we'll
agreed.
see what happens, but
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know that, I think I mean, I don't know. We'll see how the Democratic caucus responds. I mean, they also do have to reflect a base that's just spitting fire for good reason, and people are pissed. I wrote the other day, it's like you're sitting in a jail cell with a chalk every day lining off the day till you can vote. I mean, people are pissed. They for good reason. They wanna get out there and vote, and that's such a contrast to where the Republican base is. Don't dignify it, don't breathe oxygen into the Trumpism that needs conflict. Just let it suffocate on its own, because it's gonna start suffocating itself. It already is, I think.
Yeah, I think it is collapsing on itself. And again, I think most of it, to your point, is fatigue on it. Like, how often can you just come back and keep supporting people that just keep making you look like a fool every time? Just um, it's difficult to do. And we've got the Gnome hearing in March. I'm interested to see how that goes. I mean, I know I assume it's going to go a lot like the Bondi hearing, and not much is going to come of it. But the more they do that, the more they put themselves on display, just embarrassing themselves, the better it'll be. People do want to vote. People are ready. But I think the fire and the anger needs to come from some Democratic lawmakers, but it cannot be just the antithesis of what Trump and the MAGA Republicans are doing. It has to be based in real policy and in real, you know, uh, real governance. And that's what I think the difference is going to be. Uh, let the There's also a lot of people that can be mad for you while you behave like an adult. Let them do that. They will do it well. But you don't have to. You can move forward and do the things. That's what I think should happen. But
The
again,
le Yeah, the less response you give them, the more outlandish they're gonna get, 'cause
absolutely.
that's what fuels the whole thing. Um, I just think people are tired of it. I think the show's played out. I think it's done. What is the state of Minneapolis now? You're still talking to people on the ground, right?
Yeah, it is.
They feel like they've is there a sense of victory? We chased him out, ran him out. We're
No,
too
there's
smart for
definitely
that?
not a sense of victory. They know what's going on. I mean, there are patrol groups and 5051 Indivisible that are in there. Actually, they know kind of what's going on, where the ICE units are going, and they keep track of those kinds of things. It's a pretty sophisticated system at this point, to be honest. No one in Minnesota is, or no one I'm running into in Minnesota is feeling a sense of victory yet. There are small wins, and they will celebrate those and acknowledge that there has been movement. Uh, but their fear is that people will look at it as a victory, and that all of a sudden there's no, oh, well then we can take a
Over.
deep breath. It's over, and they know better than that. And it's not true. I mean, there's still plenty going on. They're still taking people every day. There's people are still having to bounce from safe house to safe house, and in order to stay ahead of, you know doors being kicked in, and door door to door knocks, and no real warrants and things. All that stuff is still happening. So it's, again, it's just diluted. They're just pushing it out further into the suburbs with smaller groups, and um, more red areas, and where there's less resistance to it.
But still resolved there.
Oh God, yes. I mean, they're going to see it through. There's no doubt about that. I I always kind of default to this thing. Well, if the administration were smart, and they're not, I don't know why I keep thinking that. But it seems like if you had any idea of self-preservation, so even if you take smart out of it, if you had any plan for self-preservation, or the idea that you might be able to win um, an election moving forward, or whatever it is, I think you would start looking for an exit ramp out of Minnesota, and that you would lean into, Tennessee, or these red states, where you're going to have a lot less resistance. But they don't want to do that. That doesn't have the show that they're looking for, I guess. Uh, Minnesota will continue to be the crucible. It will continue to be the action point on this whole thing. And I guess they're foolish enough to let it continue to be that. But Minnesotans aren't going anywhere. They're not going to stop beating each other. They're not going to stop protecting one another. They're just not going to do it. So I I don't I don't see where ICE agents are going to have more resolve to continue to do that stuff than Minnesotans in their own communities. I just don't see where that fits or works. That fatigue is going to get real on them too. I mean,
Well put.
it's a difficult task.
How do you think this Senate drama ends? What's a win for the Democrats?
In 26 total?
Well, with the government shutdown stuff, right?
They hold all the cards right now. I mean, the real win is that you roll back funding from DHS and we start redistributing those funds elsewhere. And that's what you should be looking at. And you shouldn't settle for anything less. You have 8 Republicans on your side right now. Utilize it. Schumer's never been one for standing firm on anything. So I have some worries there. If he can get Tina Smith and Klobuchar and Van Hollen to really get noisy about the way this should be handled, maybe we can get something good out of it where we have a reduction in funding, or at least a redistribution of funding for this. Especially that guy being arrested that was doing all the background checks the other day for trafficking. And that's going to go deeper, I think, than a lot of people are ready for, because that didn't happen in a vacuum. That is not one guy having a traffic ring on his, like, that is going to be deeper, and it is going to have a lot more resolve in it, or is going to have a lot more implications. And with it being a Minnesota PD thing, I mean, Bloomington PD thing, I think it's not, you're not going to be able to have the DOJ sort of get their hands into it, or the FBI kind of get their hands into it until it gets interstate. But I think that, I think Bloomington can hold on to that for a while. And they'll figure out and investigate what they need to. If they've gotten this far and they've made that arrest, they probably know more or have more information than they've let on yet. So I think there'll be more to fall on that, for sure. And you can't defend that.
No.
I mean, that's, so anybody that thinks that there's not people in this administration that are doing terrible things that aren't involved in some of this stuff are crazy. It's really, God, I just hope that continues, and that more of these things start to fall apart.
I think that might be an opportunity, though, right?
Yeah.
To draw contrast and to say, yeah, the party that says doesn't matter, what party, wherever you rely on, whatever administration, if it was rotten, it's got to meet justice. It's got to be dealt with. It's the party that's the cover up is always worse than the crime, and these are pretty bad crimes. So, own it and throw a chapter and a generation and an individual overboard, because 1, it's just, but 2, you've got to demonstrate that you're worthy of the trust of people again.
I know that they think that they are defending people with money and whatever, but you will never get this stain off of the Republican Party.
Never.
Not with anybody that is currently alive.
No.
And so that's the thing that they will carry, and for 2 generations. That's
if the Democrats can't put forth some ideas with this big of guardrails, with that kind of a stain and an anchor around the necks of the Republicans, I don't know what to say. Like, these guys are look what they're protecting, look what they're defending, look at the corruption. It's so bad that it's not even about them anymore. It's about the opposition party's ability to just do block and tackle, man. Just block and tackle. You don't need to throw a Hail Mary. Just do the basics right. And like you said, this pall, this taint, this is going to last a generation at least, maybe longer. I mean, look at the Watergate stuff, which was a fraction of this. And again, America was in a different time, but boy, that was 10 brutal years for the Republicans after that. Like, this is far worse. And all of these guys multiple times have defended it. And the ubiquitousness of cameras with every one of these people denying that they ever saw what happened. Like, there's going to be this very peculiar moment right after all this stuff goes away where people are going to deny ever being Trump supporters. I never
Oh yeah.
supported that. I never supported that. I don't know how it happened. Wasn't me. And thank goodness that there's so much camera and so much social media coverage. It's one of the few times it's good to have as much pervasive social media presence as we have, because every one of these guys is gonna, and women are gonna say, we weren't part of this. I wasn't really a Trump person.
I am. I agree with you. I cannot for the number of ardent supporters that he has or has had and whatever, like to realize that they won't turn on him before he's gone, and that it will be after the fact that they'll say, "Oh, well, I didn't agree with him. I just couldn't vote for whatever the hell they say." Um, I hate that there will not be any sort of consequence for that, other than just their own conscience eating them, maybe, or whatever. Um, because the consequence to me should just be that you should have to acknowledge the faults and the ideology that you subscribe to and support it. And, you know, I don't know how the Republican Party climbs back. I know that there will be some sort of restructuring. We've talked about that at length. What it looks like, we don't know, but uh, I hope that it is a difficult task for them to put anything together that is anyway resembles the Republican Party of the last 10 years, and that it is a lot closer to some sort of lock-in ideal, or I mean, conservatism is built on the idea of having hierarchy in society anyway, but so that's not going away. But it something closer to some sort of responsible something. That's all. Where you can have real discourse and real policy disagreement in a way that hopefully will benefit the largest majority of the people. That's uh, but again, to the point, I got off topic there, but to the point of, I hate that there will not be consequences for the people that supported this unabashedly for right now. And we just get to walk away from it and pretend as though, oh, I didn't like Trump. I was a not Trumper, but I had to vote conservative or whatever. I just, that's what will bother me probably for the rest of my days. And I know a bunch of those people. I know a lot of those people.
That makes two of us. I was gonna say that makes two of us, brother. It's late there. We've been going on for a while.
Yeah.
And you've had a busy day, so I appreciate you. I don't want to take up more of your time. We'll do it again next week.
Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Sure.
Sorry. Yeah. And appreciate everybody's patient with us. We're both balancing schedules and moving along, and trains, planes, automobiles, to do this, because I know it's important to us. I think we both like to touch bases, and it's obviously a gift to share with everybody. And appreciate all the feedback too. So everybody, thank you for joining us and listening in. But Robert, thanks for everything that you're doing, man. Honored to call you
Thanks, Mike.
friend, and I'm just proud of you.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I appreciate that. You'll never know how much. I don't know that I can put it into words, to be honest. But I enjoy our conversations, not just the ones on here, but the ones that we have, just you and I. So I really appreciate it. And sometimes unloading some of this with you is remarkably therapeutic. So I do appreciate it. So
I'm here to help, man. Here to help, brother. And thanks again. We'll talk before Thursday, but travel safely. Travel safely.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a good one, man.
Bye.
Bye.